Professor McGonagall shot a sharp look at Dumbledore and said, "The owls are nothing next to the rumors that are flying around. You know what everyone is saying? About why he's disappeared, about what finally stopped him." It seemed that Professor McGonagall had reached the point she was most anxious to discuss, the real reason she had been waiting on a cold, hard wall all day, for neither as a cat nor as a woman had she fixed Dumbledore with such a piercing stare as she did now. It was plain that whatever everyone was saying, she was not going to believe it until Dumbledore told her it was true. Dumbledore, however, was choosing another lemon drop and did not answer. "What they are saying," she praised on, "is that last night Voldemort turned up in Godric Hollow. He went to find the Potters. The rumor is that Lily and James Potter are they? They are dead." Dumbledore out and patted her on the shoulder. I know, he said heavily. Professor McGonagall's voice trembled as she went on. "That's not all. They are saying he tried to kill the Potter's son, Harry, but he couldn't. He couldn't kill that little boy. No one knows why or how. But they are saying that when he couldn't kill Harry Potter, Voldemort's power somehow broke. And that's why he's gone." Dumbledore nodded glumly. It's true?" flattered Professor McGonagall. "After all, he's done. All the people he has killed. He couldn't kill a little boy? It's just astounding. Of all the things to stop him. But how? How in the name of heaven did Harry survive?" "We can only guess," said Dumbledore. "We may never know." Professor McGonagall pulled out a lace handkerchief and dabbed at her eyes beneath her spectacles. Dumbledore gave a great sniff as he took a golden watch from his pocket and examined it. It was a very odd watch. It had 12 hands but no numbers. Instead, little planets were moving around the edge. It must have made sense to Dumbledore, though, because he put it back in his pocket and said, "Hagrid is late. I suppose it was he who told you he would be here by the way." "Yes," said Professor McGonagall, "and I don't suppose you're going to tell me why you are here, of all places." "I have come to bring Harry to his aunt and uncle. They are the only family he has left now." "You don't mean you can't? You can't mean the people who live here?" cried Professor McGonagall, jumping to her feet and pointing at number 4. "Dumbledore, you can't. I have been watching them all day. You couldn't find 2 people who are less like us. And they have got this son. I saw him kicking his mother all the way up the street, screaming for sweets. Harry Potter come and live here? It's the best place for him," said Dumbledore firmly. "His aunt and uncle will be able to explain everything to him when he's older. I have written them a letter. A letter? Repeated Professor McGonagall faintly, sitting back down on the wall. Really? Dumbledore, you think you can explain all this in a letter? These people will never understand him. He will be famous, a legend. I wouldn't be surprised if today was known as Harry Potter Day. In the future, there will be books written about Harry. Every child in the world will know his name. Exactly, said Dumbledore, looking very seriously over the top of his half-moon glasses. It would be enough to turn any boy's head. Famous before he can walk and talk. Famous? Famous for something he won't even remember. Car. A car. Carre. You see how much better off he will be growing up away from all that until he's ready to take it. Professor McGonagall opened her mouth, changed his mind, swallowed, and then said, Yes, you're right. Of course. But how is the boy getting here, Dumbledore? She eyed his clock suddenly as though she thought it might be hiding Harry underneath it. Hagrid's bringing him. You think it wise to trust Hagrid with something as important as this? I would trust Hagrid with my life, said Dumbledore. I am not saying his heart isn't in the right place, said Professor McGonagall grudgingly, but you can't pretend he's not careless. He does tend to. What was that? A low rumbling sound had broken the silence around them. It grew steadily louder as they looked up and down the street for some sign of headlight. It swelled to a roar as they both looked up at the sky, and a huge motorcycle fell out in the air and landed on the road in front of them. If the motorcycle was huge, it was nothing to the man sitting astride. He was almost twice as tall as a normal man and at least 5 times as wide. He looked simply too big to be allowed, and so wide, long tangles of bushy black hairs. Beard hid most of his face. His hands, the size of trash can lids, and his feet in their leather boots were like baby dolphins. In his vast muscular arms, he was holding a bundle of blankets. Hagrid, said Dumbledore, sounding relieved. At least, and where did you get that motorcycle? Borrowed it, Professor Dumbledore. Sit, said the giant, climbing carefully off the motorcycle as he spoke. Young Sirius Black lent it to me. I have got him, sir. No problems were there? No, sir. House was almost destroyed, but I got him out all right. Before the muggles started swarming around, he fell asleep as we was flying over Bristol. Dumbledore and Professor McGonagall bent forward over the bundle of blankets. Inside, just visible, was a baby boy, fast asleep under a tuft of jet black hair. Over his forehead, they could see a curiously shaped cut, like a bolt of lightning. "Is that where?" whispered Professor McGonagall. "Yes," said Dumbledore. He will have that scar forever." "Couldn't you do something about it, Dumbledore?" Even if I could, I wouldn't. Scars can come in handy. I have one myself above my left knee. That is a perfect map of the London Underground. Well, give him here, Hagrid. We would better get this over with." Dumbledore took Harry in his arms and turned toward the Dursleys' house. Could I say goodbye to him, sir?" said Hagrid. He bent his great shaggy head over Harry and gave him what must have been a very scratchy, whisky kiss. Then suddenly Hagrid let a howl like a wounded dog. "Shh!" hissed Professor McGonagall. "You will wake these muggles." "Sorry," sobbed Hagrid, taking out a large spotted handkerchief and burying his face in it. "But I can't stand it. Lily and James dead, and poor little Harry off their leave with muggles."